This book right here has brought in over $7 million for my business over the last year and has brought in tens of millions of dollars in sales for my business. So in this video, I'm going to introduce you to what I call the $7 million business card. Maybe you've heard the saying, a book is the new business card. I think a book is better than a business card because let's just be real. If someone gives you a business card, you're probably going to throw it away within 24 hours. But if they give you a book, you're going to keep that book. And every time you see that book, you think of them in their business. So for starters, let's talk about the 3 ways a book is going to grow your business. More leads, more sales, more referrals. Okay, repeat after me. More leads, more sales, more referrals. Write that down. This is the core premise of this video. More leads. These are people who hear about you because of your book. I could point to dozens, if not hundreds of examples of this. There's so many people who you wouldn't even know about their business if you didn't read their book. All right, think about Alex Hermosi. You read his book, $100 Million Leads or $100 Million Offers. Okay, now I know about acquisition.com. Think about Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. A ton of people didn't know about Dan until he published that book. Russell Brunson, a bunch of people didn't know about ClickFunnels until they read those books. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. Is more leads. These are people who hear about your business because of your book. Now, great example for me as well. There's tons of people who would never know about selfpublishing.com. I was speaking at a conference the other day. A guy came up to me. He said, I had a client that sent me your book. I'd never even heard of your company. I'm listening to your audiobook right now. Now I know about your company. And on the spot, he signed up to work with us. So that's the more leads bucket. More sales, this is converting more of the people who already know about you into paying customers. This is a big one. So chances are you've got some sort of sales funnel in your business. Maybe you've got traffic, then there's leads, maybe there's conversations or demos or sales calls or whatever that is. And so there's all of these mechanisms. A book will lift all of those things. I'm going to talk about that later for how I use this in my business. But when I think about that bucket, I think about how do I use the book to increase credibility and increase conversion? The root word of authority is author. So you can't spell the word authority without the word author. And you become an authority in the mind of your prospects and customers when they find out that you're an author. So if you think about this, if I'm thinking about working with you and another competitor that does something very similar to what you do, but you gave me a book, or maybe you didn't, and I just know that you have a book, who do you think I'm going to go with? You, right? You're the authority on that topic. And I had a client who we worked on this with. He was a physical therapist, and he said, Chandler, I have a family that drove 11 hours to my physical therapy clinic to get our help. He said, do you think about how many physical therapy offices they drove past to get to me? Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. I mean, I think that's crazy that they're driving that far. But why'd they drive that far? Because they read his book. And they said, finally, someone who knows a solution to my problem. And so they went out of their way to become a customer. And then thirdly, more referrals. This is a big one. If you're struggling to get referrals in your business, it's probably because you're not making it easy for your customers to refer you business. Because if it's easy, they'd be doing it. And so if you think about the psychology of someone referring you business, I'll use my business as an example. It's kind of weird if someone says, hey, you should work with Chandler and selfpublishing.com. Right? Maybe it's not weird for everyone. Maybe they have an amazing experience and they just want to do that because they know it's going to be helpful. But most people don't want to feel salesy, or they don't want to feel like they're pressuring people to do business with other people. I know I've seen this in my life. I can have a great experience and I'm still not going around to all my friends saying, oh, you should do business with this person. Because it just feels like I'm using social capital to get them to do business with someone. Right? Instead, make it easy for them by giving them a book. And so what I recommend is that you give 2 copies of your book to every new customer. And you say, hey, here's one for you and here's one for someone you know who needs help with the problem that you solve. And so what ends up happening is you give them these books and now all of a sudden they're referring you a ton of business because they're not asking their friends to do business with you. They're saying, oh, I heard that you need help with insert the problem that you solve, right? You should check out this book. I think it'd be really helpful. So this is what we do in our business. We also have a URL on our website. I think it's our URL /friend. Makes it super simple for our customers. We say, hey, anytime you have a friend who wants to write a book, well, then just send them to that link. We'll ship them a copy of the book, or we'll give them a free digital copy of the book and tell them you sent it. Right? So now all of a sudden we make our customers look good for referring us business. I was talking to a chiropractor the other day and he said, it was at a conference, he's the #1 chiropractor in all of Canada. And he said, Chandler, you want to know how I grew this business? I wrote a book. on the problem that I solved, and I gave 2 copies to every customer. He said, what I tell them is, Susie, most books don't come with strings attached. This one does. I'm going to give you 2 copies of this book. All right. All I ask is that you read one and give one to someone you know who needs our help. Is that fair? Of course it's fair. I'm giving you books when you come to work with me in my clinic. And so he said that he tracked it down. And I want to say it was 3 or 5 customers for every 100 books that he gave out. Crazy, crazy amount. So if you think about how much does it cost him to acquire customers? Well, it's a lot cheaper when you're just paying for books, right? So use this in your business to explode your referral channels. So now that we've talked about the 3 big buckets, let's talk about 5 specific ways to generate revenue from your book. The first one is my personal favorite. Use the book to land PR and become a local celebrity. Growing my first business, it was next to your house painting business. And I remember one of the primary ways that we got business is we knocked on doors. And so we just went door to door, knocking on doors, saying, hey, can we paint your house? And I remember there was one day I had this realization where I just walked by the, 200th door of the day. And I thought, seems like there's got to be a better way. How can I go from one-to-one to one-to-many with this book? And I just realized, hey, I'm walking past mailboxes to get to every one of these houses. What if I could get in the newspaper that all of these people get in their mailbox? Well, then that one sale would get me in front of 30 or 50,000 people in my community. And so that's when the light bulb went off. And I approached the newspaper, I got in the newspaper, I got on local TV, and the business exploded. Local PR, especially if you've got a local business, is one of the best ways that you can grow your business. If nothing else, you can just get credibility. You become a local celebrity. Maybe you come back to the family reunion. You go to the high school reunion. People know you, right? So there's at least the vanity metric part of this, but it really is a needle mover in your business. Now, the problem is most of these places, they won't bring you in to talk about your business, but they will bring you in to talk about a book. And if that book is about your business, well, then guess what? They're bringing you in to talk about your business, right? So use the book to open doors for all of these places. And so I've got a whole other video on how to land author appearances, how do you get PR, speaking, all that stuff. Follow that framework, or you can check out the framework in the book. I go really in depth on this. But use the book, open doors, reach out to everyone at the radio station, the TV station, the local newspaper, keep being persistent, maybe even follow up in person, give them a copy of the book. It's not that hard, and you can get on these channels, and then you can maybe even get on podcasts if you choose to do that, and it's going to help you generate a ton of revenue in your business. Number 2, more leads for your business. So give away the book for free. I'm always mind boggled at this. So many people, they say, oh, I worked so hard on this book. Why would I give it away for free? How much do you pay for leads in your business? You're paying Meta, you're paying Google, you're paying all of these services. What? $10 a lead, $50 a lead, depending on the industry, maybe even a couple $100 a lead. What if instead you could get the best lead ever and it's free? Or maybe you're even getting paid to get this lead. Or if you're giving them a physical copy of the book, sure, maybe it's $5, right? But these are the cheapest and most quality leads in your business. My sales team loves these leads because if someone reads your book, listens to your audiobook, they're signing up, right? They're showing up to that sales call, not to ask, oh, who are you? What do you do? What's your process? They're showing up to say, how can I work with you? And then number 3, use the book to get more referrals. We've already touched on this a little bit. Again, a book is better than a business card. Give a couple to every customer. Make it easy. Make it frictionless. If you just do that one thing, that's a 6 or 7 figure idea in your business. And then number 4, use the book to convert more prospects into paying customers. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but watch your close rate, watch your show rate, watch all of those things improve when you add value first and when you lead with the book as part of your sales process. Number 5, use the book to increase your rates and the lifetime value of your customers. This is a really, really powerful thing. So instead of chasing clients, now clients come to you because you have a book. And so you're able to charge more because your credibility is higher, your track record is better. So that means your average order value goes up, your lifetime value goes up. We had a customer that we worked with. He did conversion rate optimization services. And he said, Chandler, I used to just have to chase. He said, now customers are coming to me and I'm charging 3 to 5 times the prices that I used to because the context is better, Right? They're coming to me with a context of I'm an author and I'm an expert, not someone begging for their business. I had a client that I was talking to the other day, and he said, Chandler, it worked. He said, I published a book. He published a book with us. He said, I had someone, they said they never read books. They read my book in 2 days. They booked a call with me. It was call one, and they signed up to be a $40,000 customer. Call one. He said, it was the easiest sales call I've ever had in my life because they showed up to it. I love your stuff. I love your book. I'm ready to work with you. And that was right after he published the book. So more sales appointments, yes, but the quality goes up. But then we also use this to build out a speaking team. Okay, so I've built out a speaking team of about 7 people, all that go out and speak on my behalf. So last month we spoke at, I think it was 9 events. I spoke at maybe 2 of them. So if you're a founder, this allows you to scale beyond yourself. And we do about $50,000 to $100,000 from every speaking gig on the spot. Okay, the way that we do that is, you guessed it, we give away the book for free all over the place. We speak. We generate a ton of appointments because instead of other speakers or sponsors that aren't giving away stuff, we say, hey, did you get your free book yet? This is an instant conversation starter. It's an instant value add. It drives tons of people to our booth, and it leads to tens of thousands of dollars in revenue on the spot. And then the people who don't buy on the spot, well, I mean, you're seeing the book everywhere at that conference, right? This red book is going everywhere. And so people see that and say, what's that? What's that? I've been seeing that book everywhere. They're more likely to book an appointment with my team. But then we've had a bunch of people who they read the book on the plane ride home. They get home, they book a call with my team, they sign up to work with us. Number 3, we use the book to increase our close rate. So kind of our sales process, we have a ton of free content at the start. So we add value, YouTube channel, podcasts, our blogs, all those things. So we use the book content to create a lot of that pillar content. Then we use that to turn them into leads. So we get more leads than we otherwise would have. But then also throughout the kind of the sales process, there's webinars and there's appointments. Those are the 2 big things that drive business for us. So we use the book to get more people to show up for webinars. And this drives down our cost per lead. It also drives up our show up rate and our close rate. So we say, hey, if you register for this training and show up, you're going to get a free copy of this book. So now all of a sudden we get cheaper leads, and we get people to actually show up for the thing that we want them to show up for. So what I would think about this in your business is, what are the key things that you want people to show up for? Is it an appointment? Is it a consultation? Is it a demo? Is it a webinar? Use the book to incentivize them signing up and incentivize them showing up. And so now throughout the process, more people are going through the process. They might even be reading or listening to this book throughout that same process. We're adding a ton of value. They're exponentially more likely to do business with us. So that's it. Those are the 3 ways that a book can grow your business. That's the $7 million business card framework. If you do not have a book in your business, you are leaving tons of money on the table. And chances are, if you're watching this video right now, you might have a book in your business, but you're probably not doing at least 3 to 5 of the things that I talked about. So go back and implement this and watch your sales explode. I'll leave you with one final tip here. This is one that's generated 6 figures in revenue for multiple of our clients, is if you've got an existing book and a client list, what I want you to do is, first thing, super simple. Maybe you got 100 clients, 1,000 clients, whatever it is. Ship a copy of your book to every one of those clients with a 1-page letter. You say, hey, I loved working with you. Here's 3 things. Number 1, I'd love to work together again. Here's how you do that. Number 2, if you know someone that might want to work with us, here's how you can refer us business. Number 3, leave a review on the book. Right? So you can make it super simple. You can make those action steps anything that you want. But I've had people that we work with just do that one thing, and they come back and they say, Chandler, that was a 6-figure marketing effort, and it only cost me $1,000 in books, right? And a handful of hours to send out those books.